Go ahead and call to order the Harris County Improvement District meeting number 1. Right now we're going to do a board member roll call, so please speak up when I call your name. Jeb Bowden.
Here.
Todd Casper.
Here.
Gerald Crump. Here. Sonny Giles.
Here.
Tom Kyler.
Jonathan.
Has joined the conference.
I'm here, Gerald.
Steve Lerner. Here. John Muse.
Here.
Kirk Webb.
Here.
Jonathan Zadek.
Here.
Great. Mr. Miller is not in attendance. Mr. Miller. And Eric Sobek. Not in attendance. Okay. So right now we want to go ahead and move on and do a staff member roll call. I'd like to ask the Uptown staff to identify themselves.
Okay.
And Andrew Jerridge.
Bob Ethington.
Stephen Wood.
Betsy Kirkard,
Kalia Garvin, Shannon Daniels,
Mike Williams.
Natalie Sorn,
John Breeding.
Amy Escalante.
That's all that is here today.
Okay, thank you guys. And now we'll move on to the public roll call. I'd like to ask the members of the public to please identify themselves.
Patrick Simmons, Whitley Penn.
Margaret Dunlap with Metro.
Patrick Simmons, Whitley Penn.
This is Lauren Morales with RBC.
Leslie Cook with RBC.
Carnell Emanuel.
Anyone else? Any other members of the public? All right, so since we're all on a conference call today, I'd like to go over a couple of rules. Please state your name before speaking, and please mute your phone if you're not speaking. At this time, we'd like to receive any questions or comments from the public. Is there anyone that would like to make a comment at this time? All right, if no one has any comments, we'll go ahead and move to approve the minutes of the September 23rd, 2020 Board of Directors meeting. Scroll to page 1. I'm sure most of you guys have seen the minutes and reviewed the minutes. So I guess at this time we'd like to go ahead and ask for a motion to approve the minutes from the September 23rd Board of Directors meeting.
Steve Lerner, so moved.
Jonathan Zadek, second.
Second.
Okay, thank you guys. At this time, we're going to go ahead and conduct a public hearing on the proposed 2020 district tax rate. It's going to be found on page 4. And at this time, I think we need to call a public hearing to order. Mr. Breeding,
yes.
Would you like to present you or Stephen like to present the public hearing materials?
Mr. Chairman, I think just a point of order. You got a motion moved and seconded, but I didn't hear a vote on that. Could you go back?
Oh, okay.
Could you go back and accept that first and second, and then take a vote, Mr.
On the minutes.
On the minutes. For approval.
Yeah, go ahead and accept the approval, the motion and the second to approve the minutes for the Board of Directors meeting from September 23rd. And we'll go ahead and we're going to vote on that.
Yes. I think you can do that.
By voice, just ask for all in favor and then any opposed.
Oh, all in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Perfect.
Motion passes.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Mr. Chairman, as we begin our public hearing for adopting our tax rate, levying our tax rate for calendar year 2020, fiscal year 2020-21. I'm going to ask Stephen Wood if he would go over the process that we've gone through, and then I'll take us through some of the numbers with Shannon's help as well.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, board members, just briefly like to take you through the legal process for setting our tax rate. At the previous board meeting on September 23rd, this board adopted a proposed tax rate of $14,345 per $100 of assessed value. After that, we're required to publish notice of public hearing, which we are conducting now, which contains the proposed tax rate and notifies the public as to whether we've reached the rollback rate. In this case, we have not. The rollback rate would be any tax rate that generates an 8% or more increase on the average residential homestead in the district. This year, we were actually at a negative 3.27%. That is a decrease of almost 4%. So we could not trigger a rollback in any case. We're still required to publish that notice and conduct a hearing. We're doing now. And then once we complete the hearing today, the board will vote on the proposed tax rate from last month. And on the following page, you can see the notice that was published in the newspaper as required by law.
Thank you, Stephen. If you could, it's on page 6. It's the next graphic that you have, the historical taxable values and 2020 certified values. You can see over the years, we trace this back to the early 2000s. But for this year, the certified values as of today comes to $6,746,846,862 for a combined overall 3.8% increase. If you turn to the next page, based on that value of $6.746 billion and a tax rate that was published in our public notice of 0.4345, projects total revenue of $9.678 million. We assume a 99% collection rate. And based on that, we have a debt service tax rate of 0.04653, generating $3,126,390, and an operating tax rate of 0.09692, generating operating revenue of $6,511,690. On the following page is again a very visual summary here, showing that out of our total tax rate that was noticed of 0.14345, we also note the portion of that's dedicated to the debt service tax rate as well as the operating rate. I'd like to ask now Lauren Morales of RBC Capital Markets to offer his opinion of whether or not the proposed debt service tax rate is sufficient to meet our needs for the coming year. You'll find this on page 9 in my book. And Lauren, if you would, please address the group.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to the board. This is Lauren Morales with RBC. On page 9, we have our cover letter reiterating a lot of what Mr. Breeding has referenced, including a tax collections rate of 99.58%. Turning to page 10, here again at the top left, you will see the taxable assessed value we are using for this calculation. Same number Mr. Breeding just made reference to, $6,746,846,862. And on the right side of this page, you see the breakout of the aggregate tax rate into the portion for your debt service tax rate, 4.653 cents, and the remainder for your maintenance and operations tax rate, 9.692 cents. I'm going to turn now to page 11. Here again at the top of the page, you see repeated a debt service tax rate of 4.653 cents and the maintenance and operations tax rate of 9.692 cents. And then a little bit below that, just to the left of center, you can see the two components which go into the $6,746,000,000 number. So this is actually, we've already had a supplement from the Harris County Appraisal District, so more of the
tax rate
amount that remains uncertified has come over and been certified. So the amount of your certified taxable assessed value has increased as of this first supplement,
should be,
and the amount which is already certified is the number that you see there, $6,662,446,919. The amount that remains under protest or under review, and this is the value that the owners themselves are claiming, is $84,399,943. It's entirely possible that some value higher than this may eventually come on as certified, but we conservatively assume that just 100% of the owner's claim of this uncertified value is what's included in this presentation. And so it's the sum of those two numbers, which is how we arrive at a value of $6,746,846,862. So to the right of that, you can see that a debt service tax rate of 4.653 cents will bring in to your debt service fund $3,126,126, and based upon your previous existing balance, that will bring the balance in your debt service fund up a little bit to $3,365,310. Your calendar year 2021 debt service requirements are below that. Those debt service requirements are $3,115,609, and so that will again leave a similar balance in your debt service fund. So the bottom line is that's what this debt service tax rate is designed to achieve. You will have sufficient funds in your debt service fund to make your 2021 debt service requirements. Below that, we show a calculation of how much would be coming into your general fund with a maintenance and operations tax rate of 9.692 cents. That would bring into your general fund approximately $6,511,580. We've been working with your finance director on this for the past several weeks, and she wanted me to mention that we might be using a slightly different tax collections rate. There might be a third or fourth decimal point, but this is, I believe, her calculation was also $6,511,690. Below that, you can see the value of 1 penny is about $671,851. I believe Mr. Wood made reference to the change in the average homestead value, which is to the right. You can see the average tax bill. So last year's average homestead value was $764,665 for an average tax bill of $1,096.91. This year, that average homestead value has decreased significantly, and therefore maintaining the tax rate constant would result in a decrease to the average tax bill of about $183.77. And lastly, at the bottom of this page, here we show the parity tax rate and the 8% increase rollback tax rate. Parity tax rate is the tax rate whereby this year's average tax bill would equal last year's average tax bill. So obviously, since we're below the parity tax rate, that is why there's a decrease in the average tax bill. And the rollback tax rate, again, I think Mr. Wood made reference to this, but because we are below this rollback tax rate, it's really not a concern. There's no concern for a rollback election. Happy to go into more detail on that if there are any questions. But I will just finish with page 12. This is a cash flow of your debt service fund. This is a lot of the numbers that are on page 11 repeated just in a different format. So again, we have a beginning debt service fund balance of $238,710. That's from your third page. The taxable assessed value of $6,746,000,000 repeated from your third page. A debt service tax rate of 4.653 cents will bring into your debt service fund approximately $3,126,123, and so on. And this just flows through the remainder of the debt service requirements for the district with the final maturity of 2032. Mr. Breeding and Ms. Daniels, be happy to touch on anything else you'd like me to, or be happy to answer any questions from the board members that I can.
Mr. Chairman, with that said, the staff has nothing further to say. If there are any questions, we'd be more than happy to attempt to respond to them. Hello?
Well, if there are no further questions, then I guess we will adjourn the public hearing.
And with the adjournment of the public hearing, we can move on to considering approval of the order levying taxes. And the order before the board is to formally set the tax rate that you adopted at the previous meeting of 14.345 cents with the component rates of 4.653 cents for debt service and 9.692 cents for operations and maintenance.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and request a motion to adopt an order levying the taxes. Do I have a motion?
Kurt Webb, so moved.
Sunny Messiah Giles, second.
Thank you both. So now all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Moving on to our next item, we're going to consider amending the district information form and authorize appropriate action. It's going to be located on page 17, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Wood.
Yes, we need a motion to approve the amendment to the information form. This is just the final administrative action we have to take every year when we set the tax rate. This is a form that gets filed in Harris County deed records to put purchasers of property in the area on notice of what our tax rate is and how much outstanding debt we have.
Okay. I'm going to request a motion to amend the district information form and authorize appropriate action. Do I have a motion?
Casper, so moved. Steve Lerner, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Reading, I think we, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say that each board member in attendance and voting on this will be sent the amendment for their signature following after today's board meeting. So just everybody might be aware, Amy will be coordinating that.
Okay. Thank you. One of our last items is we're going to consider approval of the fiscal year 2019-2020 audit, and that will be located on page 21. And I'd like to turn it over to Shannon Daniels to walk us through that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, we have Patrick Simmons with Whitley Penn, who is our auditor, on the call. We also had a audit committee meeting today prior to this meeting, and happy to say that we did receive a clean opinion. I will turn it over either to you, Mr. Crump, or to Patrick to give any words in overview and ask for the board's approval of our FY20 audit.
Patrick, you want to take it from here?
Sure. Good afternoon. So we met about a couple hours ago and we went over the audit report and we discussed the audit results as well as a high-level overview of the financial statements. And so the district received an unmodified opinion, which is the highest level of assurance we can give on a set of financial statements. And this means that the financial statement amounts are free from material misstatement and they can be relied upon. As well as we also performed a single audit as the district expended over $750,000 in federal funds, federal grant funds, and we did not note any compliance matters to disclose. There were no audit findings to disclose. And we noted a higher level overview of the ending fund balance of the general fund was $6.4 million. The capital projects was $4.9 million. The debt service fund was $3.5 million. And overall, a decrease to fund balance across all funds of about $4 million due to paying down the district's debt. And were there any other questions with that? If there's not anything else, Mr. Crump, was there any other aspects to discuss?
I don't think so. I think we were pretty pleased with the overall audit, and nothing more to really convey to the board. Mr. Lerner, I don't know if you have anything as you were part of it.
I was just going to say that we reviewed it, in more detail, obviously, than we're doing now, and that I think everybody who was on the call would recommend to the rest of the board that we approve and accept it. And so I think I will go ahead and make a motion that we do so.
Good. So at this time, we'll request a motion to approve the full year, fiscal year 2019-2020 audit. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Steve?
Second, Jonathan.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Mr. Breeding, unless there's nothing further, we can adjourn the Harris County Improvement District #1 meeting. Just wanted to thank everyone for joining today.